Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with the Miserable Liberal and Ron Placone. Hey, everybody.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hello.
So, Ron back off. He's off his sold-out tour this weekend in Sacramento and San Francisco. Woohoo.
Fun times.
Do you have other tour dates coming up?
Yeah, this coming Saturday I'll be in Austin, Texas. And
Oh,
November
no kidding.
23rd, yeah. And then November 23rd, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and January, Florida.
Where do I go, Ron, to find out these dates?
RonPlagon.com for all tickets.
So, see, NBC Chuck Todd, this is amazing. He wanted to show everybody how the 2020 presidential hopefuls in the Democratic Party spent their weekends. You ready for this? Here we go.
Welcome back. Normally, this is the portion of the show reserved for Meet the Midterms. But our entire show is meeting the midterms, so here's a quick look at how some potential 2020 Democrats spent the midterm campaign's final days. Call it Meet 2020. Former Vice President Joe Biden capped off a busy barnstorming schedule with stops in Ohio and Pennsylvania over the weekend. Obviously, he believes this 2020 appeal is all about the Midwest and those working class voters.
You know, those working class voters that he offers absolutely nothing to. Nothing. Hey, remember when I was in the White House for 8 years and didn't do a goddamn thing for you or your unions or your standard of living or do anything to make the banks treat you fairly? Remember that?
Don't you miss those days?
We all miss those days. Anyway, okay.
Senators Cory Booker and Kamala Harris both campaigned with fellow Democrats in their home states. There's a lot of House seats in both California and New Jersey that Democrats need to win to get the majority. Booker was with his Senate colleague Bob Menendez as well in New Jersey, and Harris.
Bob Menendez, maybe the poster boy for corruption in the Democratic Party besides Debbie Wasserman Schultz. The guy should be in jail, and everybody knows it, and his own state hates him. And the Democrats, instead of demanding he step down for being an obvious corrupt fraud, they rally around him.
Nominee Gavin Newsom in California. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Kristen Gillibrand stumped for themselves because guess what? They're both on the ballot in 2018. They hope to be on a ballot in 2020 as well. And then there's former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who has spent more than $1 million on a...
Michael Bloomberg, not a Democrat. Right? Am I wrong about he's an independent?
2-minute ad that is airing in large markets around the country that stresses his independence, his anger at the Republican Party, and his love for a new party. Take a look.
I've never been a particularly partisan person. I've supported candidates from both sides. But at this moment, we must send a signal to Republicans in Washington that they have failed to lead, failed to find solutions, and failed to bring us together.
You mean they failed to find solutions like stop and frisk? You mean that kind of solution, Michael Bloomberg? Michael Bloomberg, who instituted the racist stop and frisk policy and terrorized communities of black and brown people for years in his own city as a billionaire, is now going to wag his finger at someone else? Yes. And Chuck Todd's going to give him a platform uncritically.
That's why I'm voting Democratic.
It's quite an interesting potential launch to his presidential bid. One Democrat...
Interesting in a sense that I'm never going to bring up any of the relevant facts surrounding his candidacy. That kind of interesting. That it's because of the failures of the elites like Michael Bloomberg that we got a demagogue, right-wing demagogue like Trump. And that kind of interesting. That's what I think Chuck Todd means. Interesting in the sense that he's never going to really talk about the issues that are right staring him in the face. Another freaking billionaire, racist billionaire is the hope for America.
Who says he will not be running in 2020 is Texas Senate candidate Beto O'Rourke. At least that's what he told reporters this morning in Houston.
Okay, so there you go. There's his wrap up. Now, who did? First of all, fantastic, Chuck. Really great job. Secondly, Chuck, who did you leave out? Again, he does another complete news report where he makes it sound like he's covered the issue, except he leaves out Bernie Sanders. Why is that relevant? I don't know. He's the most popular politician in the entire country. Let's pretend like we're informing you. This is, again, pretends like he's informing you. Because if he would have really wanted to inform you, he would have showed you what Bernie Sanders was doing. Bernie Sanders drenched in sweat after giving his third speech of the day. Brothers and sisters, you are not living in a democracy. You are living in an oligarchy, he said. That's what he could have showed you. He didn't. Interesting. And if you can say, well, he's only covering Democrats. Bernie Sanders is the Democratic outreach person, whatever that bullshit title they gave him. That's who he is. Secondly, you featured Michael Bloomberg. And the only reason he's wagging his finger at the Republicans right now is because of Trump. So there you go. So there's, again, another wonderful job by NBC News. Now, if you remember what Ed Schultz told us that Andy Lack, the head of NBC News, forbade them from covering Bernie Sanders. They were forbidden from covering Bernie Sanders, and that's why Ed Schultz got fired. And there's Chuck Todd. Here's Chuck Todd doing the bidding. And why did Andy Lack say that? Because what Ed Schultz said, they were joined at the hip with the Clinton campaign. Really? So corporate media and corrupt corporate politicians are working in collusion? That's weird. So again, now you know why people get their news from YouTube and why I will always have a job. I will always have a job. I worry sometimes about the show and what have you. I don't have to worry. It's just my mental conditioning that makes me worry.
Wasn't it sad that a segment like this is even in existence?
Yes.
Like, hey, we've been talking about the midterms a lot. We should probably talk about something else. Everything's fine on the planet. I don't see anything wrong there. Let's talk about corporatists promoting themselves. That's a good use of 90 seconds.
And leave out Bernie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
So the corporate smearing and slanting is already started for the 2020 election. It's already started. There it is. And tomorrow I expect to open up the paper in Washington Post and see 16 negative stories in 16 hours about Bernie Sanders.
I want to mention, too, how you mentioned how Michael Bloomberg, not exactly a Democrat, he's aligning with the Democrats right now, talking about maybe running in 2020. So he's not a Democrat, quote unquote, the same way as Bernie is not a Democrat. So is Tom Perez going to instill this new rule on Michael Bloomberg?
No. That will not be instilled. Well, he's going to be sufficient. He has not sufficiently attacked the party, Michael Bloomberg. That's what Tom Perez will say. Tom Perez will say, no, in his words and his writings, he's been supportive of the Democratic Party. A racist billionaire. So
isn't NBC the network that brought us Trump?
They gave Trump a television show for years and years. Even while he was as they were firing Paula Dean, they were giving him a new contract. Donald Trump, I mean. As the NBC was they couldn't take her because she's had been revealed she said the N-word. But Donald Trump, who revealed that he's literally
Billy Bush lost his job.
Billy Bush lost his job. Isn't that funny?
It is funny.
That is funny.
It's funny that his last name is Bush.
And it is. That's all that stuff is funny. There's lots of irony, but nothing funnier than how horrible Chuck Todd is at his job. That's he is right up there. See, I say he's worse than Sean Hannity.
Oh, absolutely.
And why do I say that? Because people know who Sean Hannity is, right? No, he's not fooling anybody. He's not trying to fool you. He's not pretending I'm a right-wing guy and I'm giving you the right-wing, ultra-right-wing conservative point of view and I'm in the tank for Trump. And so you know what Sean Hannity says. You know where it's coming from. He's pretending he's a objective observer. He's not. He is a tool. And he is paid by the establishment, the oligarchs, to maintain oligarchy, which is why he pushes Bloomberg while ignoring Bernie Sanders and while ignoring this guy. I don't know where he gets honest to God, I followed him around on the 2016 campaign here in California. It was exhausting. And the fact that he's able to do this still at 7 years old or whatever he is, is remarkable. And the fact that he wants to do it, what does he get out of it? But I'll tell you what Chuck Todd gets out of ignoring it. He gets to keep his fat cat $1 million plus a year for doing nothing.
Well, the one takeaway out of this report is that all the other 2020 hopefuls are just going around promoting themselves. Bernie Sanders is working on actual causes that help people.
Yeah. Bernie got the $15 for Disney. He's got the $15 for Amazon. That's called public pressure. That's using whatever bully pulpit you have. That's called raising the awareness and getting press. And, that's putting a full court press. That's without the goddamn Congress. That's without the presidency. That's without the cudgel of government. That's just getting it done through social protests. Direct action. Let's get some direct action up here in this MFR.
In the meantime, you know what Chuck Todd could have covered? He could have covered the race in Florida between Tim Canova and Debbie Wasserman Schultz, because that's big news.
That's big news that they're neck and neck. Yeah, we've covered that extensively. Yeah, they are neck and neck. Our next live Jimmy Dore show is February 1st in Burbank, California. Go to jimmydorcomedy.com for a list of all our live shows, and please become a premium member if you can. Become a patron. It's the way we support this show because they're coming at us, and we give you bonus. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Check it out. Become a patron. And if you can, make sure you're still subscribed. They unsubscribe people every day. I know it sounds crazy. It only takes a second. Please make sure and click that bell when you subscribe so they'll send you a notice when we drop a video. Thanks for your support.